Okay, Brett, we're here in a hotel and the owners have asked us to come and do an inspection and treatment for particularly German roaches and any other incidental pests we can find. So what are we going to do?
Jeff, I think the first thing I do is speak with the manager and the staff on site here to get an indication of where their perceptions of the pest problems are. And from there, then we're going to go along and do an inspection of areas where we know as pest controllers are likely to be problems. But addressing the managers or the staff's concerns to start with, it's going to point us in the right direction of where they perceive problems to be. If we're thinking like a cockroach, we've got to try and find the areas where they like to confine themselves. Generally they're going to hit areas where there's warmth, moisture, a food source. So they're the sorts of areas we're going to target with our inspection and treatment to try and resolve the problem here. They're a nocturnal insect, so during the daytime it's going to be difficult to find them. The way we will achieve that is to get in and search thoroughly in potential cracks and crevices to try and find their harborages. We need to tackle the job methodically, so be thorough with the inspection. Make sure you get in and cover all areas so you're not forgetting or overlooking any potential areas where they may be harboured. When you break a place down, there's so many different harborages where you may find German cockroaches within a premises like this or any premises. So it's important to take your time and get in and uncover where they are. IPM, Integrated Pest Management. What type of things should we be thinking about with an establishment like this, Jeff?
Well, first and foremost, Brett, it's talking with the customer, as you said, understanding what the problem is, and also getting their cooperation in everything we're trying to do, and that's going to give us the best chance of getting a result. For me, the big three: hygiene, making sure that areas are cleaned up so they're not potential food sources; dealing with harbourage and particularly proofing. Blocking up holes and cracks and crevices as much as possible. That's going to give us the best long-term result, and obviously going in and doing a thorough crack and crevice treatment, getting putting the right formulation and product into the areas that we want to treat.
Look, I think we need to start with an inspection, try and find where the pests are harboured. The approach I think needs to be methodical, Jeff, in that sense that we start low, work our way around and cover that area, and we step up a bit and we work around that sort of mid-range area to see where else any pest activity may be found, and then we tackle it on a higher area to see where any pest activity may be.
So Brett, without asking a silly question, why are we going to do it this way?
Look, I think my approach or my answer to that is that it allows me to make sure that I've covered all areas. If I start at a point, for me, I work right-handed, so I like to work in a right-handed direction. And if I start at this point and work my way through at that level, well, I know I've covered all those areas. And I come back and start up and work that next level, and again, and finally the third level, work up again, and apply the same sort of principle. So I know that I've covered all those areas. Alrighty, well, we'll start at this point here, work our way through the cupboard area to see what we can see. We've opened up the cupboards here and we've checked the area behind the sink. What we're looking for is any German cockroach activity or large cockroach species activity, which generally tend to be harboured in certain areas. Normally, what we need to do is get physically in and under this sink area to try and find where the infestation may be. Here we've got some sort of stored items, loose items, on the ground here. Your habit should be to pick up those items and physically look in under those things, because German cockroaches certainly like to harbour themselves. There's food scraps and bits and pieces, in amongst all these items here, and again they like to get in and nest in those areas there. So it looks fairly clear here at the moment, but certainly what you need to do is, if you're servicing this type hotel on a regular basis, generally it might be a monthly arrangement, get in and re-inspect these areas on each visit to determine whether there's any pest activity. Other areas we need to check, we've got a dishwasher here, certainly a favoured spot. You may need to take off an access panel to get yourself into the electricals of the unit, but just keeping in mind your safety at all times. If it's something you're you're not confident about, or it's a not a straightforward take the cover off arrangement, you may need to involve management or an electrician to get in and give you access into that area. In particular, if you feel that there's an infestation there that you need to access to control the problem. Moving along, again, checking low. It's a hands and knees approach to cockroach management. So we're checking in under the bench area here to see whether there's any issues or concerns. We can see a little bit of sort of debris, rubbish under this area here. But again, it appears free of any cockroach activity. From a treatment perspective, ideally you could apply tempered against the floor wall area in this situation to offer you some sort of residual control and prevent any pest activity or control in this area. Alrighty, we've checked up under the floor area here, under the bench area. We move up a little bit higher, still working at that lower level as earlier indicated there. And here is another potential area where German cockroaches may be harboured and concealed. From an application view, you could look to apply either a gel or a dust application in this situation. Just keeping in mind too, with dusts and gels, that generally you want to use one or the other in an environment, because one can be or one is a repellent and one is a bait. So generally you don't want to mix them both together in that sort of situation. But again, choose which is the ideal product in that situation or what you favour. We come back to another area which potentially could be a concern or an issue. We've got the freezer unit or fridge unit butting up against a void or cavity area here. It's not accessible, unfortunately. But again, it's an area where you may find German cockroach activity. So you could look to apply a dust application with Coupex dust into this cavity or crack or crevice in this area, and that's going to offer you some residual control there. I'm looking in and around the dishwashing unit, up where the stainless steel bench generally has like a, for want of a better word, like a lip or a cavity in where the bench meets the wall. And it's an ideal place where German cockroaches will get in and breed. An ideal area where you can apply a product like Coupex dust, if you've got access into that area, to get some treatment, residual product to help combat German cockroach control in this area. Moving along, again checking in around the sink, the hinges, up around the lip of the sink here. Again, difficult areas to get in and physically see, if you've got any cockroach activity. But we're looking for other telltale signs as well, spotting on the surface, egg cases, live cockroaches, dead cockroaches, a number of pieces of physical evidence to help us paint a picture as to whether there's a problem here or not. Now what we're going to do is move up a level to our sort of midsection area of our inspection cum treatment, and we'll work our way around onto the bar area face through our midsection area. And we start to look to try and find any potential harbourages where cockroaches may be concealed. We look at the bar area here. This joint is silicone, but it's incomplete. It's open in this situation, ideal area for German roaches to harbour themselves. What you could look from a treatment aspect to apply a Coupex dust into that joint there to knock out any potential activity there and offer you some residual control there. Prior to doing that, what I would suggest is that you go and check the other side of the bar area, because my concern would be if I applied dust here, potentially it may fall out onto the other side there, and I don't know what is on within that environment on the other side of the bar there. So before I dust this situation, I will check, make sure it's safe to do so. Okay, we're moving along now. Still working in our midsection area of our inspection cum treatment. Again, I'm looking for potential areas where cockroaches may conceal or harbour themselves. The construction style here is fairly well sealed. We pointed out that joint there, which is consistent now. It's being continually siliconed all the way. We have a small gap we're opening in this corner here. Choice of treatment would be, as I said, applying a Coupex dust in this situation, but checking to make sure that it's safe to do so without any fallout on the other side. If there was a concern in that situation of the dust falling out, well, I'd change my choice of formulation. I'd use a gel in this situation. Okay, now we're going to move into our upper level inspection come treatment to make sure we've covered all areas and rule out all the potential points of harbourage and make sure we've got good treatment in place. Now when I look along this wall area here, what I see is potential areas where German cockroaches may harbour themselves. I look up, there's a joint in the finish of the timber which meets the ceiling area, possible point. Behind the signage here, German cockroaches love to get in those situations. So certainly it forms part of your inspection to make sure they're not there and an ideal area to get in and apply some treatment. Types of treatment, ideal in this situation. You could look to apply a dust, but I would be perhaps concerned about fallout of dust, onto a bent situation here. Any of the Max Force gel range would be suitable, to apply in this sort of situation. If you had that concern of fallout of dust, onto that lower area. We're moving around here, other potential areas, this electrical board area, the power points, all areas where German cockroaches may conceal themselves. Okay, moving along, just to sum up the treatment here, other areas that I'd keep my eyes peeled for or be concerned about would be cash register. If there was a problem in this situation, I would look to use something, say, from our Max Force gel range. Same again back here, there's like an electrical type box. If there was a concern or problem there or preventive measure you wanted to approach or apply, you'd look to lift the box and see if there was any infestation or apply some gel product in that situation as well. We have another cash register down here, check and make sure everything's okay there. Moving along, and then the final piece of equipment I can see is a coffee machine, and again you'd need to inspect and make sure that's free of infestation, and perhaps apply some gel application, something from the Max Force range to offer a preventive means or have something in place to prevent a problem sort of developing in that area. Potential areas where German cockroaches may conceal themselves. We've got like a void or cavity in behind this area here. There's actually some fluorescent lights, right along this bar area here. An ideal spot for German cockroaches to breed and be harboured. You could look to apply, a dust application with Coupex into this situation. Or a gel application with one of the Max Force or from the Max Force gel range. Okay, another area you should check as part of your treatment regime is bar tables and certainly dining tables. As we can see, there's quite a number here. Potentially German cockroaches will infest these areas, in particular if you've had a fair infestation within the bar area. When you get in and check these type situations, looking for any voids or cavities or cracks and crevices where the German roach may conceal or harbour itself. Again, in this area, you could look to apply either a dust or a gel application to offer you control, of German cockroaches. Just something to keep in mind. This looks like a hollow void arrangement, and that's another potential area where these cockroaches may conceal or harbour themselves.
Okay, Brett, we're ready to do some treatment. What's going to be the approach? We're right at the cash register here. You said you're going to use a gel product. What's your approach?
Okay, Jeff. My approach on this would be to try and locate where the cockroaches are actually harboured within the register itself. So that would mean physically picking up the unit and trying to locate where the infestation may be. Typically, it's a flat-bottomed area there. There's not too many areas that they could sort of conceal or hide themselves in that area. You may well need to ask management to access the register to try and get some product into that void or area there. Potentially, I would like to turn the unit around, if I can get to it. And I would look to try and place some cockroach gel up in behind these area. But the importance, I think, of this treatment is to try and locate where the roaches are and get that treatment or gel application into that area there, as close to where they are as possible.
Okay, Brett, we're at the coffee machine now. You got tube of gel in your hand, Max Force gel. What's the approach?
Well, again, same principle as the cash register. Try and find where the cockroaches are harboured and get your treatment into that area as close to the harbourage as possible. Sometimes, as you can see, the unit has some cups and glasses and so forth on there. You may need to get management involved at times to remove those things, so it'll help you gain access to areas where the cockroaches may be. It'll also help you get in and perhaps spin the machine around to try and get in behind it to see if there's anything there. Typically, where we've found cockroaches in the past is up in these areas in here, and again you can get a treatment of gel application up into these top areas here and here in that area, and then we look underneath the machine. Again, it's fairly well sealed in that area there. There's a little bit of coffee granules and some spilt milk and so forth under there. All those conditions can attract and give cockroaches something to feed off. So we're going to suggest to the manager to give that area a clean there to try and improve that condition to prevent the problem or reduce the problem as well. Jeff, these machines too can pose a problem with German cockroaches. Often they'll get in and get in behind these areas.
Yep.
What type of application do you think would be suitable in this area?
Oh, obviously, mate, another gel application in there would be absolutely ideal.
I mean, obviously here you're looking for areas of infestation. As soon as a cockroach, if management's reported a problem or through your regular inspection, these are the sorts of areas that you'd need to pick up and check to make sure that there's no activity in these areas. In treating the FPOS machine here, Jeff's noticed another potential area where the German roaches may be harboured or concealed. That's where the two stainless steel surfaces meet. There's a big gap in that area there. What type of formulation would you use in that sort of situation, Jeff?
Oh, mate, I'd take the opportunity maybe putting a dust application in there. The only thing I'd be concerned about is after we finish the application that it's free of any dust residue on the working surface of the bench.
So how do you know that, Jeff? How do you find that out?
Oh, well, the best thing would be to wipe the surface cleanly after you're finished.
Yep. Or you could introduce IPM, integrated pest management, and reseal that area to prevent the problem, or being an area of harbourage in the future.